everybody, Tori here today with a really cute video. Today I'm going to be working on a mini album using the Wild Whisper Out and About collection, which is a new collection that they recently released. It's very travel themed, but I think it would also be really cute for boy layouts or just really fun because of the colors. And I want to just give you a quick preview of what the Out and About collection looks like, and then I'll show you how I put together this mini album. So I'm not going to tell you what or who the mini album is for because it's kind of a surprise and I don't want her to hear from this video. Instead, I would rather her see it. But I'm going to be also using the We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board today. Now, I just want to state right from the front, if you don't have a We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board, do not shut the video off. You'll still be able to do this without that. I'm going to show you how to do it with or without that, but it's just an option for if you do have it, so we can actually use our tools. And before we dive in, I wanted to just quickly show you this collection because it's super cute. If you're Canadian, you might say a boot or oot and a boot. I say out and about. But it's a super cute collection by Wild Whisper. You can kind of get a quick preview of what all the designs look like there. So there's a diagonal stripe. Again, this isn't super travel-y. You could use this for anything. On the flip side, it's got little tiny airplanes on like a blue background. Again, travel or boy layout, either one. Also, it's just really cute. This one's got this really fun gray pattern. I'm not really sure what it's supposed to represent, but it's a really pretty texture to the background. And the flip side has these stunning watercolory globes, which are just super pretty. Love those. The next one has this orange pattern with these, I don't know if you could call those tire wheels, orange slices, little pies, I don't know, but they're super cute. They're all different sizes and it's in tone on tone. And the flip side has this really fun design. I'm not sure what you would call this geometric print, but it's half colored in, half not. Kind of fun. The next paper has a map image, which I don't even know if you can tell that it's a map image, but I can. It looks like Canada up here, and then a little bit of the US and Alaska over here. So it is kind of travel-y, but I wanted to say if you didn't necessarily want a Canadian or North American map, you could just cut this into pieces, and I think it would be really fun for layering and things like that. And the flip side, this one's definitely very travel-y. It's got these little icons, buses and planes and automobiles or cars, and roam, journey, storyteller, travel, go, that kind of thing, scenic route. The next paper's got this really fun polka dot image with all the colors of the collection. And the flip side has cut apart sheet. So this cut apart sheet, I just wanted to mention, is a little interesting because it's not the normal sizes you would have for a cut apart sheet. I think those ones look like they're 3x4 and maybe those are 4x4. But then these ones are more like cut apart and layer and used for embellishments and things like that. But again, I feel like some of these icons could be used for camping or little boy layouts, like the what do you call this? The airplane? What do you call it? The airplane could be cut out and used as an embellishment on a boy layout or whatever. Super cute. And then the next paper, I think I showed you the back of that, yeah, has all of those icons, trains, planes, and automobiles. Oh no, there's no trains. Cars, buses, planes. Super cute. Again, you could fussy cut that out or use it for layering or background. And then the flip side has these stamp images. So super fun. So there are 6 double-sided papers in the Out and About collection. So that's one side, and here's the flip side. And then there are also some journaling cards, which I'll quickly just show to you. There's 12 3x4 cards and 5 4x6 cards, and they're all double-sided. So here are the 4x6 cards, and I'm going to be creating a mini album today that's a travel theme mini album, and I was really inspired by like the quotes and just the whole theme of this collection, that I thought it would be really fun to go with like a travel themed mini. And I'm going to use these cards for photo elements and for journaling spots and just all the details about the trip for my friend. It's going to be really cute. I'm excited about it. And I just love making mini albums out of collections like this, because I feel like you're going to get a really awesome mini album that all really coordinates really well. And I feel like the Wild Whisper collections definitely coordinate really well together, so I'm excited about that. Now, I also have, just while I'm showing you this and I'm thinking about it, I also have a little bit of the Canadian collection, which was called Strong and Free. That was like very Canadian themed. I have some of the papers left, and I thought I might try and mix these in with the mini album. I think they might go together okay. Plus, I think they'll just go really well for the overall theme that I'm going for. And that way I have a little bit more paper. So, I just wanted to mention that. So that is the Strong and Free collection, and this is the Out and About collection by Wild Whisper. Okay. So, I don't really need the journaling cards right now, so I'm going to stick them to the side. But what I do need right now is the papers, and I'm going to start putting the mini album together and showing you guys what I'm going to do. So I thought, I've seen these a lot on Pinterest and things, and I've seen other people do this just in different ways, where they create a mini album out of envelopes. And I have an envelope punch board, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to make a mini album out of envelopes, and then I could tuck all the journaling cards and photos and other goodies in there. So that's kind of what I'm going to go for. So I'm going to turn each of these papers into an envelope that I can use for this album. Now, all I need to do is decide which paper I want to be. This one, I think I'm going to save and use for embellishments and things like that. So I'm going to stick that aside with the journaling cards. And then I'm trying to decide which one I want to be for the cover of the mini album. And I'm leaning towards this one with the stamps. But I also think it might be fun to go with a simpler pattern. Just because then I can put like a title on it or something. Like this one's really fun. Yeah. So these are the Strong and Free collection, these ones I'm showing you. I'm just going to kind of mix and mingle them just because I feel like it'll be fun. This one's really fun. This would be a fun cover page. I'm going to use this for the cover page. Okay. And then the rest of these I'm going to turn into envelopes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick you guys up fast forward for the rest of the video just to help me do this a little faster. But I will do a voiceover afterwards and kind of tell you guys what I'm up to. So, ready or not, here we go. So the first thing I need to do is trim all of my papers down to the correct size. So first things first, I'm going to trim off all of the branding strips on all of my papers. And one of the really nice things about the Wild Whisper papers is they have a super cute pattern on one side of the branding strip. So I'm just showing you those, and I'm going to save those and use those later when I decorate the album. So then I want to cut all of the papers down to the correct size, so I just look at the envelope punch board to determine how big I want my envelopes to be, and I wanted them big enough that they could fit a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 item or photo. So I have to cut all of my papers down to 8 and 7/8. Now this is the point where you would want to do something a little bit different if you're not using the envelope punch board. If you're not using the envelope punch board, my suggestion would be to take an envelope in the size that you want, gently undo it and see how big it is, and then use that kind of as a template, as in stick it on your paper, trace it out, and you'd be good to go. So I cut down all of those Out and About and Strong and Free collection papers, and I felt like I needed some solid colors of paper too. So I went to my stash and grabbed out some cardstock and some other pattern papers that were a little more solid, just so that I could mix those in. And the other thing is that this album is for a friend of mine who's a girl, and I know that she really loves pink, and the Out and About collection didn't really have any pinks or corals or any of those kind of colors in it. So I decided to just grab some pink cardstock from my stash too, so I could kind of mix that in. You guys know me, I feel like a project isn't done if it doesn't have any pink. So yeah. I'm going to create my envelope now, and I just wanted to slow this down to show you how to do it if you don't know how. There's directions on the board too, but basically you line it up, you punch it, and then you score along the line. You rotate 90 degrees, you punch and score again, rotate 90 degrees, punch and score, until you've made your way all the way around the paper. Then what you want to do is you want to just use the top of the punch board just to round the edges, just to create like a softer look. And there you go, you have the template, and then you're going to just fold along the score lines to make your envelope. And there you go, you have a quick and easy envelope of any size, just using the template and the punch board. That's why I love that punch board. So I'm going to replicate that multiple times, and I kind of skipped that so you wouldn't have to see it. And I made all of the envelopes that I need, and now I'm going to adhere them. So to adhere them, I just took a little bit of score tape and put it on the two bottom flaps, and then I'm going to just remove that and seal it up. And I'm going to leave one side open for now. And my thought process was that you could stick photos or journaling cards, ephemera inside of those envelopes, and it would just be kind of like a really fun mini album. So I have seen other people make mini albums out of envelopes. However, I've seen them do it a little bit differently. I wasn't really following anybody's template per se. I was kind of just figuring it out as I went, which was nice. And again, I kind of like using these collections because I feel like they coordinate really well, and they're perfect for this kind of theme of album. So I do it a little assembly style, as in I add all the score tape, and then I'm going to remove all the score tape and stick them down. I just found it was a little easier this way. Now in total, I believe I'll end up using 16 envelopes, but you could definitely do less than that or more even. It's really up to you and how many envelopes and pockets you kind of want to have in your album. I just went by feel. I didn't necessarily have a reason why I chose 16 envelopes, but I knew that I wanted to use the papers that I had from the Out and About collection and the papers that I had from Strong and Free, and then I wanted to add in some cardstock, and that just ended up to be, I think, 15 envelopes, so I needed to go back and add one more, so it became 16. That's how I got to my number. But you could be a little more intentional with it if you want it to be. Too, I think you could go less or more. You basically just want to have an even number. So now that all of my envelopes are made, I'm going to decide what order to put them in. So I kind of just lay them out and figure out which order. Now the order isn't necessarily super important, other than the fact that these envelopes will be next to each other and you're going to see the patterns together. So you maybe want to be a little intentional about which ones are together if that bothers you, but either way I think it would look cute even if you weren't super intentional with it. I think it's cute either way. Now, another thing I wanted to say is that these Wild Whisper papers coordinate, so that made it a little bit easier for me when making my envelopes. And you'll want to make sure that your envelopes are the same size so that you can kind of line them up. So the way that I line them up is I just add a little bit of adhesive to the top flap, and then I lay the next envelope down on top of it to the right and stick it down. And when I'm sticking it down, I'm going near the crease, not on the crease or right up against the crease. If you go on top of the crease of the flap or right next to it, it'll make it harder for you to fold your envelopes. So I think I went about 1/8 of an inch to the right of the creases, just so that I'd have more room for it to fold. And I knew that if I stuck a bunch of stuff in there, I still wanted to be able to fold the pages and things like that. So again, kind of like assembly line, stick it down, remove it, stick the next envelope, and keep on going. It's actually quite easy to put together once you are going, so I would definitely recommend trying this. And it's just such a fun album or gift to give somebody too. So this one is going to be a gift for a friend who visited Canada, and I think that it's just a really fun present to give to her where she can kind of store all of her memories. So I really like the way that it worked out in the end. I'm excited. So just in case you're wondering, the whole putting together of this envelope mini album took me about an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes. But to me, that doesn't seem like that bad considering I've put together like a 16-page mini album with a cover and everything. So yeah, and it was just super fun to make, and I really love how the collections look together and all the papers and everything. And I'm excited to add photos and all those details too. So now that I have that ready, I'm going to do the cover. So I grabbed the wooden covers that I'm going to use for the album. So it'll kind of go like this. It'll be like an accordion album. Kind of like that. And I realized that I have one too few envelopes, that I need an even number. So I'm going to make one more. And now that I'm seeing the wood on here, just kind of plain like this, I actually really like the way it looks. So instead of using this one to cover it, I'm going to turn this into an envelope too, so that I can have one more envelope at the end. So I have the correct number. So I'm going to turn this into an envelope, and then I'll come back and show you guys what it looks like. So once I was finished that envelope, I added it too, and now I'm going to add my front and back covers. And these are just wood covers that I got from Paige Evans' Etsy shop. She has a Copic bookbinding class, and she sells supplies, and she sells these covers, and I wanted to use that. So just before I add the back cover, I realized that that back flap of the back envelope isn't going to be used, so I decided to just seal it up. And while I was sealing it, I noticed that the envelope was slightly bigger than the other one, so I decided to just trim off the excess and kind of make a front pocket, so that way I could kind of stick in a journaling card or a letter in the back of the album, kind of like that. I don't know, it's like a solution for fixing your problems. So it worked out well considering I needed a solution. And then I'm just going to add that front and back cover piece. Now, if you don't have those cover pieces, you could use some chipboard, you can use some anything that you have to make a durable cover. I wanted something really durable because I wanted this album to last the person that I'm making it for, so I thought these wood covers would look really cute, and I like the way that they look. One of the downfalls of these covers is they actually have holes in them because they were specifically designed for Copic bookbinding. So I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but they do have like a little tiny set of holes in them. So I'm going to end up actually just covering those up with some paper after all. And I'm using score tape because I wasn't sure if hot glue was going to adhere properly, and I know that score tape is like super strong, so that's kind of why I decided to use that. And I'm just lining it up and adhering it really well, and then it's kind of good to go so that I can kind of decorate the front and back cover and cover up those holes that you can see there. So I really wanted to use this wood veneer, is it a moose or a deer or something, that I got from the shop, the Wild Whispers shop. And I thought it would be kind of cute to put him on the cover, so I'm just going to see if there's any journaling cards that I could put on the cover with that little moose. And I'm going to check out the Out and About journaling cards, but I'm also going to check out the Wild Whisper Strong and Free collection journaling cards because I have some of those left, just to see if any of those would work for this project. And I'll just try a bunch of them out and kind of decide. I love all the journaling cards, and I'm excited to put them in the album and actually get to use them. But I wanted one to go right on the cover, so it's kind of like the decision-making process of trying to decide which one is your favorite that you're going to put on the front cover of the album. And I really was just looking for ones that I thought that little moose, deer, caribou thing would look cute with. So that had like plain space. And then I'm going to use some of the scrap paper that I cut off from when I was making my envelopes to cover up those holes that I ended up with on the front of the cover. So I'm really excited about how this whole album worked out. In today's video, like I mentioned, I'm going to be sharing how I put the album together and how I decorated the front and the back covers. And then in another video later, I'll show you guys how I decorate the inside of the album, how I add the photos and journaling and those kind of things for the project. But I figured I would break it into multiple videos because I think some people would be more interested in how I put the album together, and other people would be interested in what I did with the album. And it's a lot of content. Like, this video is already 33 minutes, and I didn't want it to be very much longer than that. So I decided to go with that journey card just because I thought it was kind of cute for a travel theme mini to have a title that said journey on it. And then I'm just going through some of the scraps and just going to add that on the front. And I went with the Canadian maple leaf because I felt like it just screamed Canada. And then I wanted to throw some of the pink in there. And then I'm just going to look for one more pattern just to kind of add in there. And I love when a mini album includes elements on the cover that you can find in the album because I feel like it ties it all together. So using the scrap pieces that I've cut off from all those envelopes that I made is like the perfect way to tie the cover in with the actual envelope pages within the album. So yeah, I'm excited about that. So I'm going to use my hot glue gun here for this, and I just layered that journaling card on top of that paper and just cut it out, and then I'm going to glue down my little wood veneer dude. And then I'm going to add the two papers on the front cover. And basically, I'm really just adding those two papers to cover up those holes that are on the cover so that you don't see them. But in the end, honestly, it doesn't really matter. I don't think anybody would have really cared if the cover had a couple holes in it, to be honest. And don't you just love my exact measuring here? I just kind of line it up, bend it, and then trim it. And then I'm going to glue those down. So I did try gluing right to that wood cover with my hot glue gun, but it didn't adhere at all. So I ended up just kind of popping it right off and using some score tape. I just don't know if the wood really wanted, I don't know, it just doesn't like the hot glue. So I'm going to end up just using score tape because that score tape is so strong. You can see there, I realized that it's not working. And then just popped right off. So I'll just use score tape instead. So for the covers, I'll use score tapes, and then inside, when I actually add the items and stuff, I'll get back to my hot glue gun because you guys know how much I love that. And I'm excited about it. Anyways, I did take some detailed shots of this album. So if you want to check out the detailed shots of this album and kind of see how the whole thing looks in the photos and everything, you should head over to the Wild Whisper blog, wildwhisperdesigns.com, and check out how it looks, because they're super cute, all of the envelopes and how the album looks all together. I'm really excited about it. This is kind of a really fun project. I have been working on wedding albums so much because I was working on my friend Carly's wedding album, and I haven't really gotten to do any like little projects like this, like a mini album, and I miss it. Like, I really love mini albums, and I just feel like I don't get to do them enough because I'm always working on big projects, but mini albums just have my heart. And this one was kind of fun. It's easy too with the envelopes and everything, so it works out well. I thought it would be kind of fun to add the date on there, so I grabbed my roller date stamp and just stamped the date a couple of times, and that will be the front cover of my album. And I think it's super cute. It's pretty flat other than that wood veneer dude, but he's adorable. Now, could I leave it just there? No. So I had these cork hearts from Spiegel Mom Scraps, which you can get in the Wild Whisper shop, and I thought it would be fun to kind of use some of those hearts. And then I also had these gold like sequins hearts, and I thought I would just splatter a couple of those, well, not really splatter, just sprinkle those around the page too, and they just look so cute. And I really feel like it kind of brings the girly element to this, which is fun because this is for a girl, and I know that she likes girly things like I do, and I wanted it to still look girly, even though it was mostly using like blues and greens and oranges, which to me are more boy colors. Although that's stupid because girls can like blues and greens and oranges and stuff like that too. So whatever, you know what I mean. It's not pink, but I added pink so that it is. And then that kind of just shows you how it works. And I wanted to just show you what I'm thinking for when I put the album together. I'm thinking I'll put journaling cards and photos and ephemera and stuff into all those pockets, just like that. And I can put multiple projects in there if I want, or just one. You can kind of go with whatever. So I did want to add something just to the back to kind of tie it all together. And I thought it would be kind of cute to add a airplane to the back of the album, kind of like she's flying home. So I ended up adding it just on two sides, or gluing it down just on two sides, so it's kind of a pocket too. I like those interactive elements of mini albums, so that was really what I was going for. And then on the back of the album, there are also those dots in the cover, so I need to cover those up. So again, I'm just going to grab some of the scrap papers that I have from the envelopes that I made, and I cut apart that piece that says something about like live life by a compass, not by a clock, and I'm going to add that. And yes, I'm kind of decorating the back cover, which maybe is a little weird, but for me, like, who cares? First of all. Second of all, I wanted to cover up those holes. And third of all, I'm actually thinking that a fun way you could display this album is you could put it on your shelf like a book, but you could also leave it up standing upright like an accordion almost. And then you might want the front and the back cover to be decorated so that you can kind of like, no matter where you're sitting in the room, this display piece is still going to look really cute. That's kind of how I was thinking about it when I was decorating the back cover. So, but I did keep the back cover flat so that if you wanted to store it like a book, or store it on its like flat like that, it would lay flat is kind of what I was thinking. And I love it. I love the way that the album works out. I think it's super cute, and I'm really excited about it. I'm just going to slow this down so you guys can check it out close up. And again, if you want to check out the photos, see what products I used, or even check out the Out and About collection, you should head on over to wildwhisperdesigns.com. I left a link in the description of this video for it, so go check that out. And I really hope that you enjoyed checking out how I put together an envelope mini album, and maybe you should try it too. Try and make a travel mini album or another mini album with me. I'd love to see what you guys create, so make sure you share it with me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, wherever. Let me know. I'd love to see it. Other than that, I'm pretty much done. Thank you so much for joining me, and I really hope that you have a lovely day.